Subscribe right now and tomorrow Mr. Beast will give you $1 million. Quick. You have nothing to lose.
I'm Matthias Worch, I'm a design lead at Epic Games Special Projects, and I'm one of 4 speakers today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to build interactive experiences using Chaos. So Chaos is our upcoming physics system, which is going to be the main physics system in Unreal Engine. You've seen it. Hope you like this.
Breaking news. Robo-resistance leader Chaos has broken into a Robo-ready research lab and stolen top-secret military hardware. A recall agent has been dispatched.
Okay, Agent 38, it's Renegade recall time. Oh, nice. Sure did hit that one. Good thing it's a bank holiday. She's getting away. Activate rocket boost and get after her. I'm compensating for your lack of skill with higher caliber weaponry. She's on the move again. Get after her. Let's see her teleport out of that one. Now would be a good time to figure out what that thing actually does. Oh, that's not good. On the bright side, you've been approved for mandatory overtime.
I'm scared, bro.
Confirmed. What do you mean you're scared?
I'm scared and excited at the same time.
Oh, for Fortnite?
For Fortnite, yeah. Very normal to be scared because this is listen, like I've been through games that have made huge changes, and more often than not, the huge changes make me play the game less. More often than not, but
I mean, I've never been through a big change game. I'm trying, at least ever. So that's why I'm like,
Overwatch did that to me.
I played RuneScape for 8 years, and then they changed the combat system, and 80% of the player base quit, and then they had to release RuneScape Classic to get them back. And that was hilarious. Years later.
Sam, what did they change with Overwatch?
Originally, when I first played it, it felt like a shooter. Can one of you hit the bus, by the way, for me? I'd appreciate it.
My bad, dude.
Originally, it was like more shooter based, and then the more it's gone, it's more stun, shield, crowd control based,
and ult economy and all that stuff. Like it's more MOBA.
Yeah, it's more like a MOBA than shooter now. So it frustrated me, and I didn't like it as much anymore.
Same exact thing. I used to run McCree or Genji or like one of the fun heroes that you shoot and aim with, and now it's like you got to run shields and tanks and characters that don't have to aim.
Right, and I don't like that there's almost like a meta that you have to play to do well. That frustrates me a lot. I don't know. I understand there's meta in video games. I get it, but like Overwatch is a game where it's like if you don't run meta and the other team's running meta, you're gonna lose. Doesn't matter how good you are, really.
And it's bad when the meta is not fun.
Right.
Right. That should be the goal. Should be to make sure the entire time to always make sure the meta is fun. Like, So like if everyone is running meta, it's like okay, it's okay because it's a fun meta.
The meta was to run like 4 tanks or 3 tanks, and that was like horrendous. I hated doing that. That was the only way to win.
It's kind of like how I hate looting 7 chests and getting no shield.
Where we're hunting Chaos through the streets, and she's trying to hide behind various pillars, and we keep flushing her out, and everything here is 100% real time. We have the entire first section streamed in as well, right? We're not being really creative about it. So we don't know where you're going to shoot, so as we're going past this, all of this is happening 100% at runtime. Then we go over some buildings. We stream out the first section, we stream this one in, and this is where Chaos starts hiding inside buildings. So we upgrade our arsenal and we just start smashing up the entire buildings. And once again, both of these buildings, including Robo-ready headquarters, 100% just runtime and real time. We don't do anything special here, and everything here is simulating at runtime. Then we get to the third sequence, which is a little bit different. This is a cutscene at the very end where we're crumbling an entire city block as this huge robot. Somebody told me she's called Mildred. I did not know that. It's like rising and crumbling the entire city block. And this one was actually pre-simulated. So we did this in Chaos, but then we baked this out as a cache, which we're playing back at runtime. Now, even though we're playing back a cache, it doesn't mean that this is not still a dynamic system. And if you understand that a little bit better, I think you have a really good idea of what chaos is actually doing under the scene.
Out of it. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I have no clue. I didn't read the blog post. I like read through it briefly, but I was on my way to get a haircut, and I should probably reread it. I saw that the engine is being updated, and like it will allow stuff to crumble. I don't know, bro. To be honest, I don't know how I'd like that though. I mean, it depends how they do it. I'm pretty sure if Epic Games don't fuck it up, they can do like.
Chad, do you want to see? You see the mouse?
They can't fuck up
one of a kind, like the black one.
The game is too good to
Zoe do a collab.
Uncertainty into it. You need to make sure, as a designer, if you're creating this as an interactive experience, that you have tools to actually deal with that. So chaos lets you create runtime systems like AI, etc., that can account for all of that chaos because they can interact with the destruction after the fact. So I'm going to give you some examples of how that is actually can happen. And like when we're really talking about creating completely interactive experiences, maybe you can hook up afterwards. This is a topic we could talk about for a while. But some simple examples of what we did in the demo to kind of demonstrate how you can interact with chaos. The super simple one is actually a kill field. So one of the issues you might again have with a completely pre-baked like static vertex cache is that once you rain that down on part of the playing field, that part is off limits, right? Because you've just blocked it off and you can't do anything about it anymore. AI couldn't navigate through it anymore. If you accidentally block an exit, the player won't be exit anymore. So it's very feasible to just create a simple kill field, rain down destruction on that entire street right there, but then create kill fields that only crumble the specific parts of that area that you need to crumble. You can also create AI that actually shoots that up. So you can pretty much sanitize the part of the playing field that you're interested in and make sure that the action can continue in a runtime environment. So, we come back to chaos never being static. That destruction isn't static, so it's never this all or nothing proposition. You either completely clutter it up and then it's off limits or not. Now, of course, as we're talking about systems, AI is one of the big ones that we immediately think about, because when we're creating interactive experience, we have autonomous agents, right? We have AI, like enemies that actually want to interact with, that we want to interact with and shoot at, and they need to be able to navigate all of that. So we've done a lot of heavy plumbing there already and made sure there's support for chaos when it comes to AI systems. Nav mesh is fully supported on geometry collections. So in this example, it's actually a static mesh in here at the bottom, and that has nav mesh, and then we have geometry collections on the top. And AI can navigate on that, and they can do everything that you expect an AI to do. You could actually create dynamic nav mesh, which could be modified by debris. Now, you're going to have some performance implications there, but if you wanted to have that bridge destroy and have piles of debris invalidate nav mesh down at the bottom, and then AI can navigate around it, that's totally possible. We didn't actually do this for our demo because we didn't need it. We created something like a snowplow or cow catcher, I think is what Jeff, our lead engineer, called it, where AI could walk and kick away some of the debris to make sure that they don't collide with it correctly. But you can dream, big if you really want to think about using this in a game or something that is truly interactive, because the AI can query all of this destruction. So they might be able to use a large chunk of debris as dynamic cover, for example. And you can create like a really cool cover shooter out of it, something along those lines. Then AI, of course, needs to react to the destruction as well. This is really where these kind of systems come alive, when you have a robot standing in the scene and they're reacting to all the destruction that's happening around them, right? So again, we put this in the demo to make sure that some of this support is already there. So the first thing you're going to think about, of course, is that you want to use destruction as a tool to, kill people. And these are some early examples of when we actually brought this online. So every chaos destruction event is going to give you information about what the debris actually is and how much mass it has. And so then
together. Sorry, I have to adjust the thing here. And I started to ask myself, as an artist, what do I really want from a destruction system? And here's what I want. I want to take random geometry, fracture it into a random pattern, allow a random user to hit it with random forces in random locations, and control exactly how it looks. So to boil it all down, it all revolves around one keyword: control. This is what I really want, where each fracture level is combined into its own set of clusters. These are a bit different from other systems in that the chaos solver treats each node like a single object until enough strain is applied to cause a break. So when we're simulating level 1 here, the system is only calculating those pieces. Conversely, if we turn off clustering, every single leaf node falls. Not super efficient, but it also doesn't look great. By tweaking our cluster strength values, we can therefore get a result that looks good and performs as optimally as possible. If you're like me and you're too disorganized, or I call it artistic, to meticulously keep track of each fracture and its cluster level, we have an awesome tool that lets you flatten the hierarchy and procedurally set up your clusters for you. And this allows you to effectively spam fracture an entire building and sort it out after the fact. You can reduce a really complex fracture to 5 or 10 objects if you need to. And because you can have as many levels as you need, you can explicitly control the density of each level. Which lets you control how, lost my track there. Controlling how difficult it is to break each level is one of those wonderful times when performance and art requirements align and make something awesome. The next concept we need to discuss is the connection graph. Now, this is a lightweight connectivity map that is a bit different, a bit of a different paradigm for destruction. Here we have a few statically anchored pieces, but everything else in the scene has the potential to be dynamic. Rather than swapping from kinematic to dynamic like many other systems, our system applies strain, which in turn breaks the connections and chaos ensues. Now, we found this to be a great way to maximize interactivity while still retaining control over the amount of active rigid bodies. Okay, so we have everything set up. We see how it works. How do we interact with it?